As the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy. Target psychological warfare against the enemy's mind. It is words and ideas. Ammunition used by cyborg. Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldiers. At the same time,
it is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
But the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form. These are the Psy-War soldiers.
What's going on, everybody? You are now tuned in to Planetary HQ, the planetary headquarters for all of your celestial information. And today, we are going over some juicy topics, some juicy subjects. I'm so excited. Button pressing over here. I should have tested it early, but we're through the technical difficulties now. If you guys want to repeat what you guys said, actually, we don't really need to. We can dive into it. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, chat. You can repeat whatever you guys said if you want. No big deal.
Well, I suppose I'll repeat the propaganda part. So I feel like that one kind of needs to be heard. How propaganda term kind of has a negative connotation to it, but really it can be used for either the good or the bad. Right now in the U.S., we've been seeing it used for the bad to push secularism, essentially, and kind of debauchery. But in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, yeah, even up to the 90s, and even some of the early 2000s, we saw more of a good type of propaganda, family-oriented, Christian values, all of that stuff, pushing the right stuff. So just to put that out there, propaganda can either be used for the good or the bad.
That's a good point.
Depends on what you want it for, yeah. Because nowadays what they do is they push individuality. And obviously you can't have a country if everybody is their own individual. You need to have some sort of cohesive, grounding, some cohesive morals that everybody can stand behind. And that's one way I think they push to destabilize the United States is they make everybody an individual. I'm special. I don't need to worry about the country. And that's a huge problem I think that we have nowadays going on.
Yeah, they really push for selfishness, aka secularism, which selfishness fits right into perfectly.
You're right.
Yeah,
It's this
and that's a good
corrosive. It's like a corrosive attitude among the American people. It's like oil and water. We're all just separating into our own little groups and echo chambers.
yeah. And when we're reading all this paperwork today, all these documents, I want to have the viewers remember that every time it's mentioning like communism, you can substitute communism with populism or individualism in today's modern state. It's they they don't want populism, so they push individualism, if you could put it like that. But
Interesting.
again, like I said, these are the same agencies and organizations that are in charge of the UFO legacy program. And these are the same, you'll see the same tactics outlined in NSC 11 and NSC 12 or NSC 10-2. I'll put all the links in the chat so you guys can look it up. And we're also going to go over the Inauguration of Organized Political Warfare from April 30th, 1948. An interesting document that is responsible for the creation of the entire intelligence community and the national security state. Again, like I said, these same organizations and agencies that are in charge of the UFO legacy programs. And when you see the type of operations they run, a bunch of red flags start going off, because you start to see the exact same tactics being run on the American people, and they're not supposed to be operating within domestic borders. So let's get into it. Thanks for staying with us throughout all these technical difficulties. Hope everything is cool. Am I cutting out? Am I good? Can you hear me?
You're good.
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So in the beginning, I guess let's bring it back. So in the very beginning, we can bring it back everything to World War II. I'm not going to go to the underground Nazis yet. The underground Antarctic Nazis, but everything always stems back to World War II. And right after World War II, Italy was up for grabs. Benito Mussolini, if you paid attention in school, he was aligned with Hitler and the Nazis. We toppled the Axis powers, we won the war, and Italy was holding elections. And we thought it very imperative, very important to make sure those elections, or whoever got elected, was leaning more towards Western ideologies or Western government, as opposed to leaning towards communist government. This is the first time we threw a bunch of money at it. This is before USAID, but USAID got created to represent this type of operation. And we realized that the communist leader was actually, I think, like 60% due to win, like projected to win through public opinion and public votes in Italy. And we thought this was really bad. So we bought up all the media companies. We created like Radio Free Europe, Radio Free Italy, all these media companies that we use the taxpayer money to build. We bought churches, we bought charities. It was like a total all-out war. Use every resource you can except for military power. And we won. We couldn't believe it. We won. At that point in time, a church ceases to become a church. It becomes a tool of statecraft. We even were delivering bags of money to the mafia. There is one guy, I forget his name, something Mike something, I forget. He was one of the directors of the CIA. I'm drawing a blank right now. And in his book on like page 200 something, he says, we would not have won Italy or the war in World War II if it wasn't for the mafia, because we were in bed with them. And when there are illegal activities, if you're dealing with underground gangs, normally those are considered criminal activities. But if it's in a country where you need to win the popular vote in the election, those actually become legal tools of statecraft that the United States sanctions. So we did all of that, linked up with the mafia, bought churches, charities, news organizations, and we actually were stuffing ballot boxes as well. And we won the election in Italy. And we realized, holy crap, we need to do this everywhere. And we got addicted. You know, we took the first hit and we couldn't stop doing it. So that is, I guess, a brief background story of how, gives you some context for what we're about to read today. I just wanted to give the people a little bit of that. Hope that clears some stuff up. And how also it relates to, like I said, the same exact organizations that are in charge of the UFO legacy programs. So thanks for sticking with us, guys. Again, we're going to start reading. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hit that like button to get this information to the front page. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button too. So let's start in chronological order. If you guys have any ideas before I jump in, I know I said a lot there, so I want to give you guys the floor.
I'm actually really interested to see what you're going to read, because of the stuff you were talking about earlier before this. I was like, oh yeah, I want to see what all this is about. And I can probably give you some insights to personal experience after that.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and fun fact, psychological operations has been around for a long time, back to the Assyrian Empire from 900 to 600 BC, for example.
Damn,
When,
he's going Mesopotamian on us.
Yeah, it was when
money
kind of
magic.
exactly. No, it's really cool because they were doing mass intimidation as like state policy. So it was early kind of large scale psyops. So the Assyrians are one of the earliest ones. Their kings actually recorded the tactics deliberately too. So public displays of brutality, royal inscriptions and reliefs bragging about gruesome punishments, kind of forced deportations of entire populations to destroy collective morale, stuff like that. It's pretty wild. But even to the Egyptians and the Hittites at Kadesh in 1274 BC. Yeah, it's got a very extensive history, so it's cool. But yeah, let's dive into what you have planned, Deadrick.
That's a really good point, Brandon. That kind of reminds me of the Order of the Assassins, or the Hashashins, in
Hashashin.
Persia.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Persia and Syria from the 11th and 13th centuries. The leader Hassan Sabah, he had mastered mind control at the time. Their order was a secret society. Obviously, Brandon, you're a big fan of the Assassin's Creed games. They took a lot of inspiration from that historical fact. And interestingly enough, the Order of the Assassins would go on to inspire every other secret society that would follow. After they fell, the Knights Templar came to power. They were a threat to the Catholic Church. Catholic Church pretty much demolished the Knights Templar, and the Freemasons appeared immediately afterwards, carrying over a lot of the same initiation rituals and rites and stuff like that. But there was a story that the leader of the Assassins, Hassan, he was showing off his military might against some other military leader. And he had this other military leader pick a guy. He's just like, pick a guy on my in front of my army. And he reaches out his finger and picks a guy. And he just tells this guy to jump, and he jumps off a cliff. He had perfect mind control over these people, and it was because he would drug them with, I guess, hash at the time, or somehow he had this influence. But he would, when he was recruiting people, he would have them wake up in this special garden he had prepared that looked like heaven. He had actual little channels of milk and honey. He had all these beautiful women and stuff. They woke up, and he would tell them, if you fight for me, this is where you're going to go when you die. Then they would go back to sleep, wake up back in their house or whatever, and they were convinced. And the rest is history.
Yeah, they would drug little boys and bring them to some fake paradise and tell them they were gods, and then say, "Go kill this guy, and if you do, you can stay here forever, and we'll give you all these women." Yeah, very interesting part of history. But that's bringing it way back, guys. I know I like to talk about the Babylonian money magic as well, but let's speed it back up to 1947.
All right.
So This is the report by the National Security Council, the very first report, the memo from the very first meeting. Washington, November 14th, 1947. This is NSC 11, the very first memo. I want to just read some of it so it gives us some background story so that we can jump into the inauguration of organized political warfare, which is April 30th, 1948, not too far after. This is all sponsored by, drafted, and written by a guy named George Kennan. He was an American diplomat. He was the ambassador to Russia, and he was the lead strategist for policy of containment for Soviet expansion during the Cold War. He is one of the foreign policy guru, blobster, mobster masterminds that Mike Pence always talks about. Shout out to Mike Pence, by the way. This ain't even my work. This is all his work. I just am following in his footsteps. He's an inspiration for the masses. Trying to get you on the podcast, Mike. And I just want to show, because he's going over this and he's like, I might be, plus the people who are listening to this, the only people that know about this in the entire world. So if that's the case, we need more people. We need more independent journalists to reveal this stuff. We need the public to be aware of what's happening, because if you don't know the laws and the history, then you're going to be groping around in the dark. You're not going to know where you're getting attacked from. So that's why we're making these episodes. That's why we're Planetary HQ. NSC 11. The position of the United States with respect to Italy. So remember bringing it back to Italy in 47. The problem. To assess and appraise the position of the United States with respect to Italy, taking into consideration the security interests of the United States in the Mediterranean and the Near East areas. Here follow 5 paragraphs similar in substance to the sections entitled Facts Bearing on the Problem, not important. Conclusions. The United States has security interests of primary importance in Italy, and the measures to implement our current policies to safeguard those interests should be strengthened without delay. The United States should, A, give full support to the Italian government and to equally satisfactory successive governments by means of measures such as the following. Number 1, shipment of wheat and other essential commodities under the pending interim program of aid to Europe in order to maintain the current bread ration. So that's the precursor to U.S. aid right there. U.S. aid, the mobster, blobster, George Soros foundation that goes around and buys up and strong arms other countries into government overthrow. So this is the precursor. George Soros's, I think, father or older brother might have been part of this. If you look into it, chat, you can look into it. Because he wasn't the first Soros to do this. He was just the next in line. Number 2, additional dollar credits. Number 3, further assist the Italian armed forces in the form of technical advice to increase their capacity to deal with threats to Italian internal security and territorial integrity. So remember that capacity, build their capacity, increase capacity. It's called capacity building. Even if we don't have any business in that country, but we don't like the government, if there's like a social political movement in that government, even if they're fucking terrorists, and we don't like that government, we'll pay those terrorists in that country just to capacity build, just in case something pops off and we need to go into that territory. We have people who will overthrow that government for us. You know, we want to make sure we have a mob in every fucking country. And these guys, there's quotes of them bragging. One of this guy's name is like Weisner, and they called him Weisner's Wurlitzer, and Wurlitzer, like a little jukebox. And he would brag that he could play any narrative on any media outlet in any country, wherever, whenever he wants. So just some fun facts about who these guys are.
That's kind of the same story behind ISIS and Hamas. Getting a bunch of funding and weapons by proxy.
Yeah. Against the Mujahideen back in the Cold War area, because we didn't want the Soviets to take it. So we're like, hey, let's give these guys money. Same thing when we overthrew the Shah in Iran. You know, we supported strict Muslim-backed factions, not because we cared about their Muslim, because we just wanted them to overthrow the guy we didn't like. Further assistance to the Italian armed forces. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And two other keynotes that we should all remember is national security and national interests. You'll see that over and over again. When we say national security, we're referring to the military, Department of War, Department of Defense, the Pentagon. When we say national interests, we're talking about Department of State, foreign relations. So one is resources and one is security, but they're intertwined, and the CIA is what coordinates that. The CIA coordinates the interest between national security and national interest. And sometimes big corporations have quote unquote national interests, so they can mobilize military forces. It's interesting. All right, let's keep going. Gift to the Italian government of sunken ships off the Italian coast, now under control of the U.S. Maritime Commission, in order to furnish a valuable supply of scrap metal.
Huh.
Directive to Foreign Liquidation Commission to transfer in the national interests to the Italian armed forces under the Taft de Vecchio agreement certain non-combatant equipment essential to the proper function of the Italian armed forces. Got to look into that Taft del Vecchio agreement. It's probably just a way to arm people. Loopholes. Extend economic aid to Italy by means of favorable U.S. foreign trade policies. Press for the relaxation of unduly onerous terms in the Italian peace treaty, and meanwhile interpret these terms liberally. D. Continue to support acceptance of Italy as a member of the UN. Sounds a lot like what we do in other places. E. Actively combat communist propaganda in Italy by an effective U.S. information program and by all other practical means, ... The only one that has ... I think E is the most important part in this NSC 111. Actively combat communists or populist or anybody we don't like's propaganda in whatever country by any effective U.S. information program and by all other practicable means.
Practicable? Practicable?
I think it was highly.
Maybe that's an old way of talking.
Yeah, I think it was highly kind of ineffective and dumb to combat communism in other places, and not because it's good, but because the fact that we did combat it made it look like it could have been the right path to go for a lot of people, because that's what you see a lot of people, communists, weaponizing these days. They weaponize the fact that, oh, it's never been tried because every single time it has been, the U.S. comes in and stops it. Well, honestly, it stopped it for a good reason. Communism shouldn't be a thing. It's terrible. But at the same time, had we just let it run its course over in Europe and other places, it would have been more effective towards the rest of the world, because it would have demonstrated just how terrible it was watching other places collapse just terribly. Now we still see it nowadays. We still see other places collapsing because it is being let to run its course, but on the larger scale we just kind of stopped it, and I think that was dumb.
Good point.
I mean, I think there's plenty of places where it's like you said, it still runs its course, and it's never been proven to actually work. So I don't know why anybody still attempts to even try it.
Right. I mean, it just hasn't been. Yeah, I mean, in these larger countries, though, where. What's that?
No, he said Venezuela. I said they're next, but you
go. New York is next. It's absolutely terrible, but yeah. I mean, it's still running its course in other places. Yeah, dude, freaking, they're about to go down the drain with this new freaking dude who was basically spoon fed on a silver.
Okay, so
let's go. Oh, his dad being CIA or Mossad, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that entire rabbit hole, but his dad was CIA. His dad came to the U.S. on the same boat that Trump's dad did, or the same plane that Trump's dad did, if you knew that. So they were both fleeing Algeria or Kenya, one of the two, I forget. Some African country, and we had a CIA what is it, like Young Global Leader Initiative through the World Economic Forum, where we would try to cultivate presidential leaders in every single country so that we could place them so that they would be backed already, so we won't have to find a guy. And we were finding people in Africa, and the two candidates that we were kind of backing, or they weren't even really candidates, they were like in the program to be groomed, a CIA program. The government got crazy and kicked them out, so they had to flee, and they took a CIA jet, Obama's dad and Mamdani's dad, to the US on a CIA chartered plane from the CIA World Economic Forum Young Global Leader program. And if that doesn't raise any red flags, I don't know what else does.
I thought you said Trump's dad at first. I was like, I don't think Trump's dad came from Africa.
No. Obama's dad, yeah.
When did the World Economic Forum start? Wasn't it like the 1970s is when Klaus Schwab started it?
Good question. I can look it up right now.
I think it was
Because
1972, right?
Something like that, because the Young Leaders thing has been around for a long time.
1971,
And,
January 24th, 1971.
Ah,
Yeah, Young
I was
Global Leader
I was
created
1 year
before
off.
that. Yeah. You
Klaus
were 1
Schwab
year
has
off.
talked
That's
about
good.
how pretty much the World Economic Forum has infiltrated every single government in the world with their young global leaders. So yeah, they've got their hands in everything.
Trudeau is part of
Hence
it.
the
Obama, all of them.
hence the world part.
Build Back Better was the slogan for World Economic Forum during 2020, but that also just happened to be Joe Biden's campaign slogan was also Build Back Better, directly from the World Economic Forum.
Well, the Democrats are in bed with George Soros, who is one of the main funders of the World Economic Forum. So it all makes sense,
Yeah.
Checks out. Follow the money, baby. Follow the money. All right, so let's keep moving on. So we got that. That's NSC 1-1. It kind of gives you some context on what we were thinking about. This guy, George Kennan, he was over here pushing this playbook, pushing this angle for the government. And so that was in 1947, what we just read, NSC 1-1, November 14th. So let's go to April 30th, 1948. A couple months later, not that farther. And then the same guy, George Kennan, he drafts this. And this is his original draft. It still has his handwriting on it. It wasn't declassified, I think, until 2005. So
Wow.
This is classified for a long time. So this is what they were thinking about directly after they created the National Security Council. The problem, the inauguration of organized political warfare. This is where it all starts. Political warfare is the logical application of Clausewitz's doctrine in time of peace. In broadest definition, political warfare is the employment of all the means at a nation's command, short of war, to achieve its national objectives, to further its influences and authority, and to weaken those of its adversaries. That's crossed out. If you're watching this, people, you can see it's crossed out. I think he thought that was too much. Like the public went, I don't know if that's a little bit too strong for the committee. It sounds like we're overthrowing governments now. Let's try to reel that back a bit. Such operations are both overt and covert. They range from such overt actions as political alliances, economic measures as ERP, and white propaganda to such covert operations as clandestine support of friendly foreign elements and black psychological warfare, and even encouragement of underground resistance in hostile states. Underground resistance in hostile states? What does that mean? ISIS?
Unconventional
Funding the
warfare,
mafia,
shadow governments.
underground gangs, yes. Funding whatever you can. Underground rings and circuits of people that are willing to fight against the government you don't like. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I think the last part you said. What were you asking about?
What's up?
What were you asking about? What word were you curious about?
No, I don't think I was curious about any words. Just saying how
it's lagging over here, so I thought you were trying to figure out what something meant.
No, yeah, I probably am lagging a tiny bit, but whatever. Okay, number 2. It's just showing you. Oh, the question. I was like posing a rhetorical question, like, what does it mean by funding and supporting underground resistance in hostile areas? You know, sounds a lot like ISIS. Sounds a lot like funding the mafia. Sounds a lot like funding questionable organizations, underground organizations.
It is. It's the people that you use to go against the constituted government. So it's like the rebels and things like that during like guerrilla warfare, unconventional warfare.
Funding Charles Manson.
Again, yeah. Whoa, going deep now. I mean, yeah, you're right to discredit the hippie movement. The creation, success, and survival of the British Empire has been due in part to the British understanding and application of the principles of political warfare. Lenin so synthesized the teachings of Marx and Clausewitz that the Kremlin's conduct of political warfare has become the most refined and effective of any in history. We have been handicapped, however, by a popular attachment to the concept of a basic difference between peace and war, by a tendency to view war as a sort of sporting contest outside of all political contexts, by our public's yearnings for a political cure-all, such as the UN, and by a reluctance to recognize the realities of international relations, the perpetual rhythm of struggle in and out of, war. What he's saying right there is saying we have been handicapped. The U.S. people, they're going to be reluctant to do these things. They're not going to want to because they're confused. They think there's a difference between peace and war. But even though they're reluctant to these type of operations, we still have to do them. That's what he's saying in a very formal way. It's I don't know. It's groundbreaking, table flipping, it's revolutionary. This is setting the scaffolding for formal government flipping.
I mean, nobody wants to be in a war, for the most part. The parents aren't going to want to send their children to war. So it's up to the U.S. government to make that war sound or look more
Approachable.
like it's something that we could do because we have to go a lot of times. And sometimes we don't.
That's
Sometimes we
funny
make
that you
ourselves go.
mentioned that. So
But,
in 1776, when we first became a country, we only created the Department of State, the Department of War, and the Department of Treasury. Back then, it was called the Department of War. It wasn't until the National Security Council, with the help of George Kennan, who created these documents, that they changed it to the Department of Defense. So it sounded a little bit better, a psychological operation.
We're not waging war, we're defending our values.
Yeah.
We're forward defense. It's forward defense.
Brilliant.
So,
well,
yeah,
they
I know
do
they
that kind of
spend a lot
stuff
of
all the
money
time.
on wording.
It's a simple name change, that changes the entire position of what it is, They do that kind of stuff all the time.
That's that NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Some people say mental manipulation, magic, silver tongue, Loki type shit.
Well, instead of saying propaganda, it's an information campaign. Instead of war, it's a military operation. Right. Instead of inflation, it's economic transition. It's the way they change stuff to make it make it not sound as bad.
Oh, we're gonna get into it. Instead of government overthrowing, it's like democratic transition.
yeah, like shit like that. Yeah,
fucking crazy, dude.
Mason, was that you that was telling me about George Orwell's 1984? How they have the Ministry of Truth or something in the double speak?
I'm sure I've talked to you about that before.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but yeah.
So it says,
go ahead.
Keep going.
Like I said, I'm lagging over here pretty hard, bro. I'm sorry.
I think it's me. I'm lagging a bit, but it's all right. This government has, of course, in part consciously and in part unconsciously, been conducting political warfare. We aggressive Soviet political warfare has driven us overtly from the Truman Doctrine, and finally into the covert activities which we engaged during the Italian elections, stuffing ballot boxes. This is all political warfare and should be recognized as such. Okay, so I read this before, so we're not going to read all of it, but I do remember some parts that are highlighted. Overt operations are, of course, the traditional policy activities of every foreign office enjoying positive leadership, whether or not they are recognized as political warfare. Covert operations are traditionally in many European chancelleries, but are relatively unfamiliar, but he crossed out, are not wholly accepted by this government, by the US government, saying like, we don't do this shit. Before World War II, we weren't really doing this shit, but now can we have a formal branch of operations to do this? Right here is very important. A fucking key crux to this entire national security state. Having assumed greater international responsibilities than ever before in our history and having been engaged by the full might of the Kremlin's political warfare, we cannot afford to leave unmobilized our resources for covert political warfare. We cannot afford to leave unmobilized our resources for covert. We can't afford to not have our shit in motion constantly, is what they're saying. We cannot afford in the future, in perhaps more serious political crises, to scramble into impromptu covert operations like we did at the time of the Italian elections. So he's saying that the Italian shit, we kind of thought that willy-nilly last second and it worked. Now we can't do this in the future. We need to have this shit in every country at all times so we don't scramble. So if anything happens in that region, boom, activate the flash mobs, activate the media outlets, you know?
Okay, so this is starting to make sense. This is the impetus for the formation of the CIA because now you can have boots on the ground in disguise as civilians in every nation on the planet, gathering intelligence on everything they're up to, their cultural situations, their conflicts, their politics, and you can preemptively strike by just setting things in motion, just like the Ghost in the Machine video showing the chess pieces moving. That's what it becomes, is a game of chess. Outwitting your opponent 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, well, you got to think about that. Even in our country, every single one of the intelligence agencies has sources already ready in place to do anything that they might need if something were to happen. It's like, hey, this, political turn just happened, and now we need this to go down. We have somebody in place already ready for that to happen. That way, you're not scrambling and trying to get shit ready. It's already, prepared to be done if you need it to be done.
Yeah, it's
But
funny.
you got to think about that here in the United States too, because we got that stuff going on also. So other countries have that same thing. So whatever they're doing here in the United States, if something happens, they could potentially activate several of their sources, any cells or anything like that, to do whatever they need to do here.
Yeah, exactly. And we practice it abroad and we can bring those operations domestic. One story my father always told me, because Colonel in the Marine Corps, he was involved in the operations like when we went to Somalia for the very first time. Like it was a U.S. aid. We were giving them food, quote unquote, and maybe some other things. And in order to get the U.S. aid food in there, we said we need to guard the food with troops. That's another angle we use to get troops on the ground in a foreign country. And then we use those troops to deploy military operations against who we don't like. That's what we did over there. But we're giving them food. Well, it's another crazy USA George Soros operation. But my father was there, and he said he remembers specifically being on the aircraft carrier going towards there. And I think he was a lieutenant colonel at this point. But he says he remembers like a helicopter landing on the ship and these guys in black suits coming out, like CIA dudes. and next to him are dudes who looked like Somalians, like legit Somalian dudes. And he's like, what the fuck? Why am I meeting with these guys? And then they started speaking English. And I guess they were CIA operatives who were of Somali descent who had been living in the area for like 10, 15 years and gathering intel just in case something popped off. And he gave him like a rundown of everything before they like hit the beaches and everything. And he's like, yeah, that was crazy. He's like, it showed me that we have agents embedded in every culture everywhere just in case some shit pops off. And then they activate, you know? It's kind of nuts.
It's really interesting.
So skipping ahead a little bit, they're listing some projects or some techniques on how to, I guess, you know, overthrow governments. It says A, liberation committees. The purpose is to form centers of national hope and revive a sense of purpose among political refugees from the Soviet world, to provide an inspiration for the continuing popular resistance within the countries for the Soviet world, and to provide a potential nucleus for all-out liberation movements in the event of war. Well, pretty much just to fund sleeper cells within foreign nations that are ready to get activated. Same thing that we've been talking about for a bit. I'm going to keep scrolling for a second. If you got any thoughts, guys, real quick, I'm going to use the bathroom.
Gotcha. I just found my other earbud. I was searching for that for a second. But what was he just talking about there for a sec?
He was going over some different operations that they were proposing, and one of them was injecting sleeper agents and forming sleeper cells in other nations.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Like I said, that's no different than what's done here by every other intel agency. I mean, we all have everybody all over the place. They all do the same tactics and, you know, TTPs and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we have people over there, they have people over here, in case anything happens. That's kind of one of the scary things that I think about when it comes to the fact that we had open borders for 4 years, is you had all these people from all over the world coming in by the tens of thousands, you know, and you take somebody, you know, with my background, with my background, I could probably, you know, if I wanted to, put attacks on soft targets all around the United States and terrorize the country. And then you take somebody that is equivalent to my background or much more trained, and then you bring them in our country by the tens of thousands or even more to do the exact same thing. Like, I really don't see why that has never happened before, because I don't really think you could stop it. And the fact that we've had these open borders for so long, who knows how many people unvetted, military trained, have come in here that have the capability to do that now, and now they're just sitting here waiting to do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me think it's probably a good reason why our politics are so chaotic. There's so much cultural turmoil, is because there are probably sleeper agents pushing forward certain agendas with any kind of social movement, uprising, protest, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just to
That's
destabilize.
that's the culture war. That's a whole different side of it too. But I mean, like I said, you're getting it from everywhere, you know. You guys give me 1 second. I gotta go say goodnight to my son real fast. Be back.
All right.
No, that's cool.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
All right. And yeah, like I said, we learn all these tactics foreign, then we bring them back to the domestic homeland. What it's saying here, it's saying what is proposed here is an operation in the traditional American form. Organized public support of resistance to tyranny in foreign countries. You know, just getting people to be socially unrestful in countries that we don't like. B, underground activities behind the Iron Curtain. The purpose, to maintain contact with, sustain and influence underground movements in the Soviet world resisting Kremlin domination. So funding music movements, social revolutions, gangs, anything that are against the government they don't like. Here they're saying Soviet world, but you can replace that with any government they don't like. You remember Pussy Riot? Pussy Riot from the past couple of years. They were a crazy band in Russia. They got arrested by Russia because they were spreading Western propaganda. And then it goes on to show that they were
Whoa.
100% like funded by USAID and George Soros.
Whoa.
And it was one of our operations to get the people in foreign countries to overthrow their own government. So that's a very recent example. And they're not the only example.
Do you have any opinions on Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z and do you think
Yeah, I'm
there's
gonna do
like
an entire
the
episode on that.
Rockefellers?
Yeah, I'm gonna do an entire episode on that. I definitely think that that's a CIA operation. It outlines it in all these documents too, like using music and media in foreign countries. It seems like they're doing the same thing internally. In contrast to CIA operations involving the American government directly with underground activities, this project would follow a principle which has been basic in British and Soviet political warfare: remote and deeply concealed official control of clandestine operations so that government responsibility cannot be shown. So this is the very beginning of plausible deniability. And this is what gives the CIA their ability to do what they do. Let's see here. This covert operation can utilize in private. Okay.
Like
This is a
governmental
covert
responsibility
operation.
cannot be shown.
Yes. And then these are covert operations, again, utilizing private intermediaries. To ensure cover, the private American organizations conducting the operation should be separate from the organizations mentioned in the previous projects. With government guidance and financial support, their function would be along the lines of those employed by us during the Italian elections. This project is a matter of urgency. Yeah. Matter of urgency, yeah. So they're saying that, yeah, we need to have private intermediaries so that our fingerprints aren't on the dirty work, so that we don't get caught red-handed. It would seem that the time is now fully ripe for the creation of a covert political warfare operation directorate within the government. If we are to engage in such operations, they must be under unified direction. One man must be boss, and he must, as those responsible for the overt phase of political warfare, be answerable to the security of state, who directs the whole in coordination. So it pretty much just gives you, it says like what he should have. He should have complete authority over covert political warfare operations conducted by this government. It should have the authority to initiate new operations and bring under its control or abolish existing covert political warfare activities. Then it should answer to the Secretary and Secretary of State.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff works exactly like super rich people. For example, if in Romania you want to purchase a vehicle, you might have two different businesses or three different businesses in three different countries. For example, purchase what you want. So you're going to control it, but you're not going to own it. Therefore, the government can't seize it. There's plausible deniability. So you have full control. You don't have the ownership. So essentially, I think a lot of these government operations kind of work exactly like that. Is pretty much what you're saying there. You're going to have various paramilitary units and stuff like that conducting various operations, and there's plausible deniability. We don't do it. That's this company over here.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, that's literally the beginning of the entire national security state, the plausible deniability. They actually start to go into plausible deniability in NSC 10-2. Fuck it. Let's do it for the people, man. Who cares? I'll put all this shit in because people are going to hear this shit for the next 10 years. You want to read for a second, Magma?
Yeah.
Let's put it in the chat.
Oh, cool. There we go.
So what we
All
just
right.
read was April 30th, 1948. And now, so we read NSC 10 or 1-1, the very first one. Then we read the Inauguration of Organized Political Warfare, April 30th, 1948. And then they come out with NSC 10-2, which is June 18th, 1948. So April, May, June, like a month and a half after the Inauguration of Organized Political Warfare, George Kennan, he drafts NSC 10-2. Now let's see what these fucking spooks are talking about.
All right. National Security Council Directive
Also,
on
sorry,
Office
didn't mean
of
to cut you
Special
off, but
Projects.
if you made it this far, don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you're a new viewer.
Please do. All right. The National Security Council, taking cognizance of the vicious covert activities of the USSR, its satellite countries, and communist groups to discredit and defeat the aims and activities of the United States and other Western powers, has determined that, in the interest of world peace and U.S. national security, the overt foreign activities of the U.S. government must be supplemented by covert operations. The Central Intelligence Agency is charged by the National Security Council with conducting espionage and counter-espionage operations abroad. It therefore seems desirable, for operational reasons, not to create a new agency for covert operations, but in time of peace, to place the responsibility for them within the structure of the Central Intelligence Agency and correlate them with espionage and counter-espionage operations under the overall control of the Director of Central Intelligence. Therefore, under the authority of Section 102D5 of the National Security Act of 1947, the National Security Council hereby directs that in time of peace, a new Office of Special Projects shall be created within the Central Intelligence Agency to plan and conduct covert operations, and in coordination with the Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan and prepare for the conduct of such operations in wartime. B. A
That's
highly
crazy.
qualified
So
person.
it says in time of peace to do this. Like,
Yeah.
hereby directs that in a time of peace, the new Office of Special Projects shall be created within the CIA to plan and conduct covert operations in coordination with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's wild.
We're not getting caught with our pants down again. B. A highly qualified person nominated by the Secretary of State, acceptable to the Director of Central Intelligence and approved by the National Security Council, shall be appointed as Chief of the Office of Special Projects. C. The Chief of the Office of Special Projects shall report directly to the Director of Central Intelligence for purposes of security and of flexibility of operations and of the maximum degree consistent with efficiency. The Office of Special Projects shall operate independently of other compartments of Central Intelligence Agency. And D. The Director of Central Intelligence shall be responsible for 1. Ensuring through designated representatives of the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense that covert operations are planned and conducted in a manner consistent with U.S. foreign and military policies and with overt activities. In disagreements arising between the Director of Central Intelligence and the representative of the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense over such plans, matter shall be referred to the National Security Council for a decision. 2.
Yeah,
ensuring
okay,
that
so it's giving us a lot of the cool ways that it's organized, that they can talk back and forth to each other. But I think we can skip forward to number 5.
Number 5, all right. As used in this directive, covert operations are understood to be all activities, except as noted herein, which are conducted or sponsored by this government against hostile foreign states or groups, or in support of friendly foreign states or groups, but which are so planned and executed that any U.S. government responsibility for them is not evident to unauthorized persons.
Yeah, there
and
it
that
is right
if
there.
uncovered,
There it is.
And if uncovered, the U.S. government can plausibly disclaim any responsibility for them. There you go.
So this is what
Specifically,
turned the CIA from a spy organization to a lie organization. They now have free license to do whatever they want as long as they do it so no one finds out. And if someone finds out, they can the level above the intel agency can plausibly deny it.
Brilliant.
This is legal fucking lying and overthrowing as long as you don't get caught.
Yeah,
Like you can do it.
you don't
They
get
call
caught.
it the, what is it? The dirty secrets, the dirty secrets department. That's what they call themselves. The Department of Dirty Secrets or Dirty Tricks. Sorry, the Dirty Tricks department.
Yep. Just like when they hired the magicians too. All them
Mhm.
tricks. Sorry, I'm
Magician.
in the process of walking back inside. I just got back to my house. So I'll
Oh,
be
you're
on
good.
camera here in just a
No,
minute.
Nice.
it's cool, but
What'd
I
you
just
say they
love
hired
seeing
magicians
this
to do what?
codified in American legislation. Yeah, he's making jokes over here. I think he's like, we hired magicians because they're doing tricks.
Oh no, that's not a joke. We actually, the CIA actually did hire magicians to teach them sleight of hand and a bunch of other
Yeah.
tricks and stuff
No
like
way.
that.
Okay, yeah, I could see that for sure. It's don't put anything past the CIA. Straight up, that's hilarious.
Right?
But yeah, keep reading it. I think it's amazing to see this codified in government American legislation. And so now people can't say like, you're just a conspiracy theorist. No, dude, it's written right here in NSC 10-2. I'm not one of these YouTubers that's just sitting around saying, well, this happened, this and this. Planetary HQ, we bring the receipts, dude. And sometimes we bring freaking Green Beret operatives, codenamed Ducks, with us.
I mean, the stuff that we're always going to do, we're going to have a legal framework behind it. Like, anytime we go overseas, we fall under a specific set of orders, whether it's Title 10, Title 22, or Title 50. And Title 50 is the one that the like intel community falls under. So the special activities, the special mission units, things like that, they obviously do way more highly sensitive, covert, clandestine operations, and they have to do it in a legal. They have to do it legally, but they have a team of JAGs, and it's like, hey, I want to do this operation. How can I do it the right way? And so then those JAGs will go around and find out the workaround to get it to be legal. And that's pretty much the exact same thing the CIA does. Same thing with what you want to talk about later with the Trump strikes. It's the same type of thing.
Exactly. I was going to bring that up. I'm like, that reminds me a lot of, the Trump strikes. And when they hit those drug boats, they were in contact with multiple JAGs. So they had counsel to make sure it was legal. And the JAG said, let it rip. So getting into that, folks. Let's quickly speed run through the initial creation of this stuff. And let's get into the modern popular culture. It's just so important to understand what the UFO Legacy Program is. This is the same agency that we're talking about here. And this is the same agency that seems to be running operations domestically against a sitting president. So what do you got, man?
Yep. So finishing up this document, just a few paragraphs here.
Yeah, finish number 5. That's it. There's number 5.
Specifically, such operations shall include any covert activities related to propaganda, economic warfare, preventative direct action, including sabotage, anti-sabotage, demolition and evacuation measures, subversion against hostile state. What a list! Including assistance to underground resistance movements, guerrillas and refugee liberation groups, and support of indigenous anti-communist elements in threatened countries of the free world. Such operations shall not include armed conflicts by recognized military forces, espionage, counter-espionage, and cover and deception for military operations. What a list.
So there it is, outlined right there. Write it on your hearts, people. If anybody calls you a conspiracy theorist, you better have this screenshotted. NSC 10-2. Show them. It's written right here in 1948, man. So that's a little intro on behind the entire security apparatus. And I guess we can, but if we're going chronologically, we can talk about the Smith-Mundt Act, like what you were talking about, Mason. And what was that again? The Smith-Mundt Act was actually created during these meetings because the people at the meetings were realizing, yo, this could get crazy. And we can't allow these CIA people who now have unlimited funding to do covert operations. Well, first they thought, what if that media they're doing in foreign countries gets back to the United States? That's not good. And then what happens if we start doing it among our own public. So they made the Smith-Mundt Act, which says that you can't do propaganda campaigns against the American people.
Well,
So I
the
guess
Smith
I have the
in
little.
1948,
You say it,
1948, the Smith-Mundt Act said that they initially designed it to combat like Soviet propaganda and to like push global interests abroad. But it explicitly banned like the U.S. government from actually propagandizing the U.S. people because they saw how well it worked overseas in Russia. But in I think it was like 2012, they repealed the act, or they revised it to where you actually could now propagandize U.S. citizens.
Yeah, in 2013, they had the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which under Obama, which eased restrictions and allowed for the domestic distribution of some materials under certain conditions. So they just like edited it to be like, well, some. So that act was literally created during these same meetings that we were just reading. Overthrowing Italy, figuring out we can overthrow foreign governments through US aid, buying media outlets, social unrest. When we figured that out, we realized, yo, this is crazy, dude. We need to have a Smith-Mundt Act. Or Smith and Mundt came forward and they're like, hey, dog, this is crazy. We need to have an act in our names to prevent this shit coming domestic. And it worked. And then Obama was like, you know what? I really want to get spooky. And fucking repealed that shit, dude.
Well, so the thing about it also is that the government's not allowed to propagandize you, but the media does not fall under those restrictions, so they can pretty much fly it straight to your face, and they're not going to get in trouble for it.
Real quick. How's my audio? I got my DJI mic on. Is it reading pretty well?
Yeah, I got
You
you.
sound good.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that's scary. So under Obama, they repealed that. That doesn't make me feel safe. But I guess let's go forward. Let's skip forward, I guess. So I want to focus on this person named Rosa Brooks. Rosa Brooks. Let's see here. I'll put the I don't know if you guys are watching the stream or not, but I'll put some links in the chat. I'll put all the links in the description after this live stream too, so you guys have them. Rosa Brooks right here. And shout out to Mike Bentz, by the way. If he's watching this, I love you, dog. You're my big brother. I know this is all your work, but I'm just helping scream the message off the top of the rooftop. So if you like what I'm doing right now, hit that like button and subscribe button. But go check out Mike Bentz's channel, because getting all this from him. Rosa Brooks. Rosa Brooks was counselor to the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. Remember what we read in 10-1? All these covert espionage activities would be under the Undersecretary for Foreign Policy. So she was the Undersecretary of Defense for Foreign Policy under Obama. Rosa Brooks, CIA officer, CIA spook. There's interviews of her talking about her time in the CIA. It's fucking awesome. I want to focus on her. She was the leader of the Transition Integrity Project. Okay. The Transition Integrity Project was a series of political war games or political scenario exercises in the United States at the beginning of June 2020, involving 100 current and former senior government and campaign leaders, academics, and journalists, polling experts, and former federal and state government officials. The exercises examined potential disruptions to the 2020 presidential election and transition. PIP is not an organization, but rather a short-term project run under the auspices of the organization to protect democracy. Interesting, right? So a political war game. A political war game. So I have an article that she wrote from Foreign Policy right here. Where is it? By Rosa Brooks. 3 ways to get rid of President Trump before 2020. Okay. He's a sitting president, and this is the Undersecretary of Defense, was the former Undersecretary of Defense. So high military officials calling for, I don't know, overthrowing in our own domestic government. And she's directly involved in that office and council who is in charge of overthrowing governments. So she's writing media articles, campaigns. So she has practice of doing this in other countries. And now she's doing this in America against the sitting president. Rosa Brooks, like we just read in what? In the very end right here, should go to the Undersecretary. That's what she was, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy under Obama, high CIA officer. She was in charge of the Transition Integrity Project, which was actually, guess who else was part of it? Michael Steele, former chair of the RNC, Republican National Committee, and Donna Brazil, former Democratic National Committee chair. So the leaders of the Democrats and the Republicans were coming together to get Trump out. Because if you notice, it's not really about getting Republicans out, it's about getting Trump out. Even other old school Republicans want to get Trump out, want to purge Trump out of the party. So it's funny that this is a bipartisan operation, that Republicans and Democrats are coming together with the CIA regime change programs and running operations domestically. So this is what Rosa was in charge of, like I said, from the Undersecretary of Defense, in charge of the Transition Integrity Project, led by Rosa Brooks. Let's see what she has to say. 3 ways to get rid of President Trump. And she's publishing this, dude. Is this not like treason? CIA operations on domestic fucking lands? Is anybody else talking about this besides Mike Pence? I realized he was the only person, so I'm like, fuck it, we need to start talking about it too. We're Planetary HQ. Look at first thing. Are we really stuck with this guy? That's what she says. Are we really stuck with this guy? Already priming, already that freaking Babylonian word magic priming your mind and subconscious. So listen to this. It's so weird. She says 3 ways to get rid of President Trump, right? Look at this. Let's scroll down a bit. She says, but secretly, she don't want to put it in the title. There is a 4th possibility. You guys can't see it, but I'm highlighting it for the people on the stream. In the article, I don't know if you're watching it, but I'll put the article in the chat for you guys, for my people and you guys. See. And for the chat, I'm not forgetting about you guys either. Again, if you like what you're hearing, hit that like. There we go. Cool. So she says, even though the article is named 3 ways to get rid of President Trump, before she sneaks something in, dude. So crafty. Look what she says. There's the 4th possibility is one that until recently I would have said was unthinkable to the United States of America. Look what she says. A military coup.
Wow.
Or at least a refusal by military leaders to obey certain orders. What? That's fucking weird. That's weird that the Undersecretary of State lady, directly connected to what we just read for the NSC Council for Foreign Operations, talking about there's a military coup option we could take by getting people to obey certain orders. I don't know about you guys, but I put it in the chat earlier, and there's a video that's been doing the rounds recently. See if I can get to it. The mouse is getting all crazy. Here it is from YouTube for the people. Let's see. Hope they can hear it. Let's watch it.
Okay, the stream is now caught up.
Huh?
The stream is now caught up. There's a little lag there. I don't hear it on the stream, though, the video.
No.
No.
I'm not hearing it either.
You can't hear it in the stream?
No, this looks interesting though.
You can't hear it in the stream? Oh man, I'm sorry, people. 1 second. Jesus, all these technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, you're taking care of that. Like the kind of linguistic side. I mean, from that
All right,
article,
I should have it. I should have it.
I was actually, you should have it. Okay. Let's see.
Second. Jesus, all these technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, you're taking care of that. Like the Okay. Well, I was going to say she seems to be using kind of a thing called like preemptive absolution in there. So she's kind of framing, her side as morally innocent. So any criticism becomes basically evidence of wrongdoing. And that seems like a trend when it comes to these psychological linguistic type operations. What's that?
The stream still doesn't have audio, just so you know.
God dang it. Sorry, people. I thought I had audio. That's why I was like, stop talking. I can't. Okay, you guys keep talking. Let me figure this out real quick.
Yeah, I was watching the stream and I was like, there's still no audio, so I'm just going to talk.
Yep.
One of the big things that, they've called these guys the seditious six. But one of the big things they did was any single time that they had one of these people after they did this video on the news, they asked them, has Trump given any illegal orders? And none of them could actually say that he had given any illegal orders because he hasn't. But that's it. That's the framing. There's also a website now called "Is This What You Signed Up For?" And it directs people that are in the military to go to this website and ditch formal means of communication, jump on Signal, jump on Proton Mail. It talks about, hey, did you really sign up to for Airborne to defend ICE, and shit like that. So they're trying to build sedition. They're trying to subvert the military to get them to go against Trump. Because to be honest with you, I really think, and I think what most people think, is they want a coup to happen. One of the senators just came out recently and said that we might need the military to stop a Trump presidency. So what they're trying to do, several people in the government, the whatever deep state, whatever you want to say, is trying to get the military to take him out, essentially, of power.
Yeah, I mean, this has been I think this has been a thing, like even before, he was officially inaugurated, and they were kind of like pushing for this type of behavior from the very beginning. And it's very easy to do this stuff because rather than using, facts and logic and reasoning, they know that they've essentially gotten the majority of the U.S. population into an emotional type mindset framework. So since he was elected, right, these psychological operations have been taking place where they only use emotions to push people to their breaking points, essentially. And now people, the vast majority of the population, rather than using reasoning, they listen to emotion, and that's it. It's a social contagion right now. And you see that all over TikTok. People just talking about emotions and this and that, narcissism, this, gaslighting, that, all of these other, these buzzwords and everything. It's just emotional manipulation, and it's easy because they've also removed one factor that combated that. So a lot of women are more prone to emotional manipulation because they're more emotional, and now men are becoming very much like women, very emotional. And I think that was deliberately done in order to, of course,
Ooh.
utilize this and push people to that point. So emotion is the highest, is the most effective way to manipulate an entire population. You don't use facts and reasoning and logic. If you want to get people upset, you just tell them that somebody's taking their candy, and they won't even question. They're just going to be like, oh no, he's taking my candy, and their candy's going to be right there in front of them. But the news is telling them otherwise, so they're just going to believe it, right? I mean, it's stupid. It's very stupid. The vast majority of the population are just stupid, emotional beings. It irritates me.
By stupid, he meant
Well, it is
not you who's
Well,
listening to this, because you're not stupid, because you're listening to this.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean,
But
what
you'd be
the
surprised
media
that Gloria
does.
Steinem, one of the main feminists from the early 1960s and 70s, everybody knows her. Feminist movement. She was
Emotional.
solely funded by USAID and CIA money to
Huh.
get the females in communist countries to uprise against their government.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys were moving around or not, but I mentioned Pussy Riot. Pussy Riot is 100% funded by USAID. You remember that scandal?
I'm not familiar
what
with
was
Pussy Riot.
Oh, it's a USAID-backed rock band, and they're a Russian rock band, and they got arrested by Putin. And it was a big scandal. It was all over the news. No, support Pussy Riot for having American feminists. They're pushing that crazy shit. Soros funded, whatever. So yeah, Gloria Steinem, same thing. But let's see if you guys can hear this shit. Can you tell me if you can hear this?
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Yes.
who take risks each day.
To keep Americans safe.
We know
Yeah,
you are
I can
under
hear.
enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
you must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than
Didn't say
ever,
Marines.
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Wow. Don't give up the ship. I wonder how much money they paid to figure out that slogan. These think tanks. That's hilarious. Sorry, it's probably a couple seconds behind for you guys. I just finished it.
Don't give
But-
up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
The ship. Yeah, it's crazy. The CIA spooks, all the astronauts. It literally is the CIA playbook. We just looked it up.
Huh.
That was
She says it
all
right there.
emotion. All emotion. No facts and logic.
Yeah.
Just sheer, pure
I think
emotion.
there's facts and logic behind that. Look,
I don't think
the
there's
facts
very
and logic
many.
I'm saying is the fourth possibility is one that until recently I would have said was unthinkable in the United States of America. A military coup, or at least refusal by military leaders to obey certain orders. It seems like a lot of logic and pre-thought behind it. No, I get what you're saying. They're appealing to emotion. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
You know, when they were saying you don't have to, you can refuse illegal orders and all that, it's easy for them to say when they were all in former positions. Like, I'm former Navy, former CIA. None of them are actually in positions in government.
Yeah.
So
where the facts and reasoning comes in here, just to break it
Getting
down, Barney
feedback on
style.
your end, Brandon. I can hear people on your mic, I think.
Oh, that's weird.
You have the audio.
Yeah, I've got it loud here. Let me do something real quick. Yeah. Am I good right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What I was saying is, when it comes to facts and reasoning, they're saying you can refuse unlawful orders, and it's like, are they stating what unlawful orders were given that they should be refusing right now? No, all they're saying is you can refuse unlawful orders. So they're leaving it open ended deliberately because they don't really have any leg to stand on there, because they know that anything they put in the public sphere is going to be negated, by people who do know the law directly. People are going to take that video and they're going to break it down Barney style, and they're going to be like, the fuck are you talking about? This isn't an unlawful order that you're, talking about right here. This clearly went through the proper chain of command, right?
We're bombarded with news like nonstop every single day. It's literally impossible to fact check every single thing. Most people read a headline and that's where they get their news from. So when they see people and it says you can refuse illegal orders, the way they push that narrative is to make it seem like Trump is giving illegal orders without you ever looking into it to see if he was or not.
You're right.
They do that on purpose. That's the way they phrase it, so they can just make it sound like it's happened, even though he's not. So when they go get, like, when people start coming after them, like, hey, you're trying to cause sedition or you're trying to cause subversion in the military, we're like, we didn't say he was actually causing illegal orders. We're just saying if he ever did, you can refuse it. So it's a bunch of bullshit, but that's just another way they push that propaganda.
I mean, we just read it. We just read all the covert operation doctrine, that spooky, weird gray area with plausible deniability, with Rosa Brooks over here, literally part of the blob, the intelligence community, deep state regime change. And then we're not in the CIA's charter, we're not supposed to be doing that domestically. She's over here doing it domestically just because she was under the Obama administration. I don't care. I'm not saying Trump's a god. I think he's a orange-haired goofball, and I don't even know how the fuck he got president because he came off the fucking Apprentice. I don't want to see our politics turn into some weird, what's that one movie called with the Idiocracy? I don't want to see that. But he's a sitting president, and we shouldn't be using intelligence blob communities to run domestic regime change operations within the domestic United States. Because if that starts to happen, that can be used for forever now. Now, the only difference between us and like a tyrannical fascist state is nothing. We have censorship and we have internal domestic rigged elections that are run by the intelligence community. So, like Trump or not, this should not be happening, period. This should scare the fuck out of you, and you should be like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I do think, all things considered, think of Trump what you will. I don't think he is compromised in the same way that most politicians are, because he was able to become a millionaire through his own means, whatever, through businesses and TV and all that. He isn't easily bought out by the CIA.
Well, I mean, they have a billion different plays in their playbook. If they can't hit the head, they're hitting the SecDef right now with the exact same shit. He gave illegal orders to hit the boat. It's the exact same angle, but under a different situation. And if they can take away Hegseth, I'm not saying I like Hegseth. I think he's a fucking fool too. But if they can get him out, then, that helps topple the entire regime. It's just CIA dark playbook 101. And that's what it seems like they're doing. The entire thing is Hegseth, take him out. He gave unlawful orders to kill these people on a narco trafficking ship. We are currently engaging terrorists at war and narco terrorists as an enemy. We are in a formal conflict with them. If you're going to bring drugs into our nation, you might get fucking blown up.
You're right.
There's a video of Costy's Coast Guard this morning shooting a 50 cal, taking out like 4 fucking engines of a drug boat this morning, and threatening more if shit pops off. Like, we're not going to stop these operations. If you're going to bring these drugs into our nation, we're going to stop you. We're going to stop you. And to use that under the guise of illegal order, CIA psy operations in order to overthrow governments. That's fucked up, dude. I don't care if you like Trump or not, if you like Hegseth or not. It's fucking wrong.
Yeah,
no,
it makes me think though that it's actually working because this latest one that they took out, they didn't blow it up. They used a 50 cal to disable the
Yeah,
engines.
you saw that? They fucking
Yes.
reeled it back, and I'm like, dude, fucking drop
That's
it
not
on
good.
them, dude.
You've designated these Venezuelan cartels, the Cartel of the Sun, as an actual narco terrorist unit or whatever it is, or organization. You know, when Obama killed a 16-year-old American teenager, Anwar al-Awlaki, in like 2011 or whatever it was, nobody batted a
No
fucking
one
eye.
said
Nobody
shit.
gave a shit. Yep. But now, because it's Trump and because he is hated by the deep state, and when I say the deep state, I mean the people that have been entrenched in the government for 40 fucking years, the people that have been there so long that they pretty much run the show. When you're a
Yeah, the
president,
good old
you're a
boys
temporary
club.
employee from 4 to 8 years, and then you're out. You know, but you have people that are director of the CIA, director of the NSA, people that have been, you know, director of the FBI, however long they've been in there, and they've been in there a long ass time, and they are the ones that run the show because they're the ones that are there and they're making the moves, they're making all their little slithery snakes, making all their fucking deals. So yeah, it's all bullshit. But the fact that you just saw them take it out without blowing it up makes me think that what they're doing is working. It's like, all right, I guess we need to reel this back,
It's
even though
working. You're
they're
right.
completely
You
within the
save
legal
face.
guidelines to destroy those ships. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's crazy is how they're manipulating the population in order to see cartels now through a very sympathetic lens. It's kind of wild because if any of these people ever saw with their own fucking eyes what these cartel dudes, these same dudes were blowing up, what they do to women, children, what they do to innocent men, the horrific fucking things that they do to these people. Like, well, no, even if these freaking weirdos saw this, they would still probably be like, "Oh no, we shouldn't be killing these guys." The emotional
All
manipulation,
my
the
best friends are
extent,
dead from high school from drugs.
yeah, the
You know,
extent of this emotional manipulation, had just how you could convince these people, that Nazis were good people. You could convince all of these people that Nazis were good people because cartels. They're convincing these people that cartels shouldn't be killed. Cartel members. That's insane. That's insane.
We did see something recently. I think it was on the news. I can't remember who said it, but they were saying that people in the cartel are just trying to make money for their families and shit like that.
Yeah,
But they're
they
trying to
they have
humanize evil people, and they do that kind of stuff all the time. Like when I went to
yeah.
Mexico in 2019 to do counter drug stuff, we saw videos from the DEA of the shit that the cartels did to people that crossed them, and it's some of the most fucked up, heinous shit you could possibly imagine. They're not people at all. They're serial killers, every single one of them.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
when you see this kind of stuff and they're trying to humanize it, it's absolutely disgusting. But they'll go
Yeah.
to any possible links they can to demonize Trump and to undermine his administration.
Yeah, and Deadrick,
They
there's
called
also
that fucking terrorist he killed, al-Baghdadi. They called al-Baghdadi a not a terror leader, but a secular scholar, a religious scholar, or some shit like that. Like they renamed him
really?
a
Oh my
actual ISIS
god.
terror
Jeez. Al
leader.
Baghdadi?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
yep.
The shit they do is insane. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's
In
an
10
article
years,
that
he'll
you
be a
can
freedom fighter.
there's an
Yeah.
article that
Yeah.
you can put up on the screen, Dedrick, also that one of the news
You put it in the chat? You
organizations
put it in the chat?
interviewed. What's that? Yeah, I'm about to
Oh,
pull it
so get
up,
the
but
link,
one
put it
of
in the chat. I'm
the
still getting feedback from your mic. I don't know if it's just me or you guys hear it too.
yeah, I got no idea what's going on there, but yeah, I'll find the article. But the news they actually interviewed one of the cartel members that was killed on one of the boats. They interviewed allegedly his family. They're framing this through a very emotionally manipulative lens. Look at what this family's saying, about how horrific it is that they killed our dad, who was a cartel member. He was just trying to make money for our family. They took a specific cartel member and interviewed his family, allegedly his family. They always lie about that stuff and get caught up in these lies to begin with.
Mm.
Let me find that article.
Well, and you know what? Earlier this year, the United States Department of State officially designated several major cartels and transnational criminal organizations as foreign terrorist organizations. Like cartels
Yeah.
are designated
And
as terrorists. So
So
It's not illegal
yes,
order.
it's a formal relationship. It's combat. Exactly. You're not just killing civilians. You're killing a actual designated terrorist. And supposedly, you heard the latest thing. They called the admiral who gave the order to bomb the boat, to fucking smoke the boat. He said that there is a list, and they confirmed that the list, everybody whose name was on that list, they were also on that boat. So everybody on that boat was designated narco terrorists.
Oh.
Formally before that. So they were like, all right, so if every single person we need to hit is on this list, is on this boat, we're gonna hit them. So it was no civilians.
Yeah.
They were all combatants.
Yeah, they're not just like seeing a boat leave and they're like, oh, that's probably got drugs on. Let's fucking blow it up. there's people on the ground that are giving intel, that are pushing intel up to the U.S. government. That are saying, hey, this, they have several different sources or anything like that. It says, hey, these drugs are leaving from this place. They're going to this way. Whatever the route is that they're taking to get on the boat. Okay, now they're at the boat, and these people are on the boat, and then they get blown up. Like, it's not just like they have satellite imagery, they have sources, they have human, they have all the kind of stuff that they need. They're not just blowing random shit up that doesn't make any sense. Because if they are, then yes, that's bad, and they deserve to get in trouble for that. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, and another thing is people are very concerned, I guess, about okay, how are they getting this information? And it's like OPSEC. It's like why are we going to reveal the methods by which we're getting this information publicly and allow the cartels to be able to capitalize on the new information and be able to close those holes? It doesn't make any sense. We're not going to give them the information, or the U.S. population the information by which we get intel. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And they're all upset about it. I was arguing with a buddy of mine. He was like, well, why don't we know how they're getting this information? It's like, because we shouldn't know. People shouldn't know. If they know, then they can close the freaking holes. But here's the article. It says, then they framed it up here. It's by Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera. Yeah, Al Jazeera. Yeah, I'm about to throw it in there, but family of man slain in U.S. boat strike lodges complaint. Let's throw it in there.
Lodges complaint.
Yeah, I'm throwing it in the YouTube chat right there.
Oh, YouTube chat. Okay, cool. I just want to get so people can hear it or see it.
It looks like the other guy got it. Here, I'm gonna throw it in with here. 1 second.
Another guy got it?
Yeah, the other guy got it there. I'm gonna throw it in our Discord channel.
Yeah, cool. Because I want to show the people.
Yeah.
I want to show the people. I mean, they want to see too. You can't leave them out, dog. All right, you got an Al Jazeera article.
Yep.
What are you, a boomer? You don't know how to fucking paste a link?
I do not. I have to. Yeah, I am. I am very technologically illiterate.
So this is important because literally the UFO legacy programs, they are the same organizations that got spawned from the entire conversation we just had.
All right, there it is.
People to realize that.
Man slain in a U.S. boat strike.
Cool.
His right to life was violated.
Right, let's see what we got. His right to life was violated.
Right to life was violated. Fuck out of here. It's like somebody goes and robs a bank and then gets killed by a citizen that has a gun, and the family's like, "Why did you hurt him?" It's like,
yeah, but you
fucking threatening his life here and trying to rob a bank. Like, what do you think he did?
Yeah, but you see how they framed it right there in the description under the title. Family of Colombian fishermen say his right to life was violated. Family of Colombian fishermen. They don't call him a terrorist or, a cartel member. They call him a fisherman.
Yeah, and it says United States military strike on an alleged drug smuggling vessel.
Mm-hmm.
As if maybe it wasn't even confirmed. It was just a fishing boat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you'll see
That's
that
the
obviously with the whole Operation Mockingbird stuff, because it's going to say alleged vessel, and then every other news outlet will say alleged. I mean, anytime you look at multiple news sources with any scandal or anything that's happening, you'll see the exact same wording every single time. And it's not like these news agencies are supposed to work independently of each other, yet they all come up with the exact same story, the exact same wording, the exact same phrasing, the exact same words. They use the whole thing, and it's so obvious that it's being pushed, to push the American people to believe a certain narrative.
Yep.
I mean, the untalked about, something we should not state, the fourth possibility, military coup, or at least refusal by military leaders to obey certain orders.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're trying to do
Seems
that
like
without a doubt.
that's the plan they're
But
activating.
Trump is very popular with the military, so.
Yeah. In general, he's pretty popular with it. We're seeing a slow, change when it comes to, or we're seeing a gradual shift with at least like the Army, some of the Navy, some of the Air Force, the Marine Corps. Can't really shift them very, very much. But the other branches, I've been seeing more and more members starting to talk and act out. It's a bit wild seeing that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you keep pushing it, you can change people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of people that join the military are patriotic. They fall under the same core values of love for country, and
Well,
God and
see,
all that kind of stuff that most people believe, and that most people in the military believe. And I'd say
Mhm.
like a good 95% of 95% of the military, everybody that I've talked to, for the most part, likes Trump. No issues with him whatsoever.
well, you
But it
saw,
doesn't mean it can't be changed if shit like this keeps getting pushed over and over and over again. And then,
yeah, you saw in
so
that video of the politicians talking about don't obey unlawful orders. You saw that video, and in the background they had this patriotic type music playing because they
yeah,
know that those are the people that they need to try to target. And of course, talking about not obeying unlawful orders, that just goes back to how the U.S. was founded. And they're trying to kind of harp on that, and they're doing their best to target patriots, but it's kind of funny. It's the same way that Tim Walz was also trying to target men by making a manly video, a masculine video about working on cars, and it was one of the most horrific things. All the blue collar dudes were looking at that like with disgust. It was absolute disgust. It was so funny.
yeah. But they do that with everything. It's not just it's the wording, it's the imagery, it's the audio. Every single thing is tailored to that target group to try to get them to believe what they're going for.
Yeah.
Well, check this out.
And what's up? We got some hotness.
I'm gonna share my screen here. I got a clip. I got a clip of a clip since we're giving some shout outs to Mike Binns. I thought this was hilarious. He's covering how Mr. Beast is compromised by the CIA and USAID money.
Beast. Let's listen to this.
Foundation. I'm here today. Hi, I'm Rod Shaw, president of the Rockefeller Foundation. I'm here today with Jimmy Donaldson, better known as Mr. Beast. How's it going? And we are together, the Rockefeller Foundation and Mr. Beast launched.
Boy, they are really two peas in a pod, aren't they? Let me get my snippy.
I love this.
Okay, this.
Love Mike.
Remember that?
He's talking about how they have a fake smile.
Smiling. But is he smiling?
He just moves his lips, dude. It's not a real smile.
When you smile.
It's creepy.
Like,
It's
psychopathy. Right. I'm thinking about that Fleetwood Mac dream right now. Wow, that's so cool.
It's the smile of a serial killer.
I'm trying to do a Mr. Beast smile.
Skip ahead a little. saying this guy's doing the same thing.
USA director under Obama, now running the John D. Rockefeller covert civil society action arm. Let's see what this partnership's about.
How's it going? And we are together, the Rockefeller Foundation and Mr. Beast, launching a great new partnership together.
Yes, we're going to try to inspire the youth all around the world, change lots of lives. Lots of big projects coming up. We'll tell you more about it in the future, but I'm honored to be working with the Rockefeller Foundation, and let's change the world.
And we're excited to work with Jimmy and his awesome team. They are already helping kids in Africa and around the planet. We're going to take that to the next level together.
Oh, no, we don't need no more kids in Africa.
Oh, that's right. Because Beast Philanthropies was like building wells, right?
Yeah, so he goes on to talk about the net worth of Mr. Beast being like, his company's net worth is like $5 billion or something, and Mr. Beast is $2 billion. And it's wild that basically what's happening is Mr. Beast, as a popular icon with the youth, with Gen Z, doing Minecraft streams and stuff, is an asset that the intelligence community can actually use to push different narratives. And he's shown as a philanthropist, digging wells. He plays clips of a video where they're digging wells in Kenya. And the thing is that all that money is coming from USAID money. So it's just kind of funny. It's all over the place.
Yeah, even the name itself, USAID. I think most people look at USA and they're like, "Oh, there's a government entity that just helps, developing nations and it gives money to people. It's aid." But it's the U.S. Agency for International Development. So,
International development.
Whatever falls under international development, developing nations in the way that falls under U.S. policy and how we want them to develop. But people look at that department, they just assume, oh, it's an aid foundation. It's us giving money to people that need it. But that's not what it is.
It seems like it was pretty well defined in that 1948 document. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It all lines up. Mr. Beast is co-opted for the CIA, and he's going to teach your kids how to become a soulless demon from George Soros himself. We just saw the video, people. We went left, right, up, and down on tonight's episode. I had some fun today. I think we can start wrapping it up. One thing I do want to remind the people is, because in the initial stages of these documentations, they had to keep up a lie foreign. If you lie to the world, guess what? In order to maintain the lie, you got to lie to your people. Because if your people are hearing, wait a second, you're saying this shit to those people over there. No, you got to maintain the lie internally.
You're right.
The moon landing. So, no, I don't want to go there right now. But we're having fun with it. I hope you guys had some fun. Hit that like button. If you're a new viewer, hit that subscribe button so you're up to date with all these celestial broadcasts. I'm with Planetary Initium tonight. Another great episode. My brother Brandon, Operator Dux, until further disclosures. My brother Magma Sloth. I guess let's hit up with some. You got final thoughts? Anybody got some final thoughts?
Yeah, I become wary of the opinions of celebrities and very wealthy, influential people, because it seems like their opinions are almost always being leveraged by some kind of agenda. I feel like it's almost always the case.
Yeah. And last thing from me, whenever you read anything or you hear somebody speak, listen to and watch for any emotional type language. And if there is any in there, write it off. Look into it. They're expecting you to just be emotional and go with the flow of what they say. Never listen to emotion, listen to facts and reasoning, and that's it. It's easy.
It's always going to be emotion. The media uses immediacy as a weapon. If we don't change this right now, it's pretty much the end of the world. Something terrible is going to happen. And I agree with you. It's they always use emotion because people immediately respond to emotion before they can sit there and reasonably and logically think about what that actually means or what they're being told.
Yeah. A lot of it, they started with preemptive absolution, where they frame themselves in a moral hierarchy where they are morally superior, and anybody that tries to question that is just terrible and needs therapy. And that's what they're going to categorize you as. So preemptive absolution is the word for what they really use to capitalize on it. So there's no room to critique or question, because if you critique or question, you just need therapy and you're a terrible person.
Yeah, there's a social taboo against bringing up really any of these subjects in a public place, in a workplace. It's kind of amazing. It's taboo to talk about the integrity of this country.
Yeah, all valid points. And to the viewers out there, we made this video so that you become more conscious. You know, it's all about becoming more conscious, brother.
Raise your
Namaste.
consciousness.
No, but seriously, like one of the main pillars of this channel is triosophy. Mind, body, spirit. Totally looking at the universe through all three lenses at once. Not only giving in to the emotional aspect like Brandon was talking about it, but analyzing everything through the mind, the body, and the spirit, the trisophic method. And we want you guys to be aware of the conditions you're living in on planet Earth. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance. It's up to people like us, independent journalists, independent private members of society, to step up and reveal the secret, covert, sometimes disgusting things that the powers that are in charge of everything are doing. And unless we are aware of these things, then we're never going to be able to reconcile or understand the crazy panoramic of events that's happening in modern day society. So that's why we're doing these episodes, to get you aware. I hate the term stay woke, but stay awake, stay frosty, stay vigilant. Let's keep your head on a swivel. And we're trying to put all the facts on the table so that you can decipher and you can navigate this reality in the correct and proper way. If you don't like reading documents and it's boring, I get it. That sucks. That's why we're here. We can do it all for you. And hopefully we can make it a little bit entertaining for you. Sorry about any technical difficulties. You know, we run into that every time. But just remember that we have the power of the people. We write their checks. We pay their funds. America is not going to fall. It's not over yet, baby. We're not going to let some geopolitical redcoats infiltrate our system again. No, fuck that. We're going to fight them off and America will stand. So understand that these are the organizations that are doing covert operations, and possibly they could be doing them domestically. These are the organizations that are in charge of the UFO legacy programs. And that once you are locked in and snapped out of the matrix, we can actually cause change on planet Earth. You can put your fingerprint on the book of life. So rise up, share the video, spread the message. Shout out to Mike Bentz for literally paving the way, because without him, I wouldn't be doing any of this type of videos. Planetary HQ, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go check out Project Initium. And until next time, I need your attention, everybody. New Jersey drones are now over New York, LA, and every major capital on the face of planet Earth. They keep repeating a message over the 6 gigahertz frequency band, and it keeps saying, Planetary HQ has comments for your physical mechanism. In other words, we got that drip. Straight from the Galactic Federation wardrobe, these tees vibrate at the frequency of chill. Ribbed knit collars lovingly hug your neck chakra, preventing collar droop across dimensions. Tapered shoulders enhance your interstellar silhouette, perfect for Earth missions and beyond. Dual side seams stabilize your style, ensuring your energy stays aligned even when encountering planetary turbulence. Crafted from 100% classified heirloom combed and ring spun cotton, this featherlight fabric breathes like you're cruising through the astral plane. Ideal for layering beneath your space cloak or relaxing at your Earth base. The tailored retail fit transitions seamlessly from casual Earthling mode to I've got crystals in my pocket and I ain't from here chic. making it essential apparel for your rigorous interdimensional journey. So check out them shirts. We got a bunch of different colors. Link is in the description. Your contributions directly support spiritual operations on the front line in the battle for truth, beauty, and righteousness. With your help, we can help change the face of planet Earth, and we can look fly while doing it. Okay, now that we can fund the Black Budget Anti-Grav program, let's